At the beginning of the new month, Perempuan wakes up on level 51 with Natalia, who chose plums as her food and a pillow as her object. She's also missing an arm. When the platform comes, the plums are missing, but Perempuan convinces Natalia to follow the rules. At night, Perempuan hallucinates Zamiatin in the room with her. Sometime later, a head falls down the pit, and the women learn that an anointed one known as Dagin Babi is killing barbarians all over the place. The rules say that only the prisoners directly above the level with a barbarian should go down to punish them. But the next time the platform comes down, Natalia still jumps on it to join the fight. Eager to avenge Zamiatin, Perempuan decides to come along. As the platform goes down, more and more prisoners agree to join their cause. Eventually, they reach a level with a barbarian called Oscar, who attacks first and stabs a person on the platform. A vicious fight ensues that leaves everyone bleeding and bruising. After lots of punches and kicks are exchanged, Oscar pretends to surrender only to jump on the platform when it's about to leave. A furious Natalia jumps too and starts beating him up, so Oscar brings her down and gets ready to stab her. At that moment, Perempuan lands on the platform as it stops on the next level. While Perempuan rescues Natalia, another prisoner jumps on Oscar and starts choking him. Unfortunately, the man gets stabbed as well, so Perempuan cuts in to start beating him up again. Oscar begins to cry and explains he didn't do anything wrong. He's been in the facility for over a year and had to eat something to recover. He only wants to survive like everyone else. Perempuan takes pity on him and lets him escape on the platform, blocking Natalia when she tries to stop him. That night, Natalia explains she's been in the facility for 6 months. When she arrived, her cellmate explained the rules, and she agreed to follow them, even if she didn't find them fair. But sometime later, they found a dying young man and gave him a dead prisoner's food to save him. The following day, Dagin Babi came to punish them. She took Natalia's arm and killed her cellmate by strapping her to the bottom of the platform, letting the cannibals at the end of the pit eat her. That day, Natalia realized nobody ever leaves the facility and survival is an illusion. The only way to live is by escaping. And Natalia thinks it can be done when the prisoners are gassed and moved around during the end of the month. If they can fake their deaths, then their bodies will be thrown out of the facility by administration instead. Natalia believes she can do it by eating the oil painting a prisoner brought as their item, but she doesn't know what level it's on. A few days later, they see a man tied to the bottom of the platform. This means Dagin Babi and his group are getting closer, so Natalia convinces Perempuan to go down to avoid them. Unfortunately, at that moment the platform stops, bringing Dagin Babi and his followers. At first, he pretends to be generous and lets them eat something, but as soon as the platform leaves, Dagin makes some of his people capture Natalia, Perempuan, and those who went down with her to fight the other day. Dagin offers a long speech about how people must obey the law, not interpret it. Making exceptions are just an excuse to be disloyal, and he reveals he's missing his eyes as if that proved his point. Then the group undresses Natalia and ties her to the bottom of the platform to be sent to the cannibals. Perempuan is held down with her arm extended over the pit, so when the platform goes down, it rips it off. Meanwhile, in the mysterious room, the kids continue to play as they appear to multiply. The next month, Perempuan wakes up on level 72 and meets her new cellmate, Trimagasi, whose object is a knife. Him being alive reveals this story happens before the first movie. When the platform arrives, Trimagasi eats without following the rules. Perempuan has given up on this unfair justice and jumps on it, inviting Trimagasi to come along. As they go down, Perempuan convinces more barbarians to join her, including Oscar. There are so many people who hate the loyalists that soon the platform is pretty crowded. A few levels later, Perempuan announces their group is big enough, and they get off the platform. It's then revealed that the infamous painting is in that cell, and finding it had been Perempuan's objective all along. Recruiting fellow barbarians had only been a way to gain protection. The next day, Dagin Babi makes sure to empty the platform before it reaches the level with Perempuan's group. He explains he'll wait for them to be weak to attack and kill them, but he'll consider mercy if they surrender now. An argument ensues on how to proceed, and some barbarians leave for the lower levels. Suddenly, Trimagasi interrupts the argument with an idea. They should all go down and eat any loyalists they find. The group loves the idea, and while they celebrate, Perempuan remembers sharing her story during the interview. She used to be an important artist, and the painting Natalia had been looking for had been her object all along. Her fiancé had a child from another marriage, and Perempuan had accidentally killed him. The next time Perempuan wakes up, she tastes meat in her mouth. She's been refusing to eat human flesh, but she became very scrawny, so a lady fed her to help her recover. Seeing hallucinations of all her fallen friends, Perempuan has no choice but to start eating the meat the barbarians offer her. Sometime later, the platform is approaching, and while everyone is getting ready to fight, Perempuan hides the painting in her pants, which is noticed by Oscar. The platform arrives with a bunch of mattresses that suddenly fall, revealing Dagan Bobby and his group of loyalists, who immediately attack. A vicious fight begins, and both sides start killing opponents without mercy, covering the entire place in blood. It becomes difficult to see who is who, and Trimagasi accidentally stabs a woman he had a crush on. Traumatized, he decides to stop fighting and hides under the bed. Meanwhile, Oscar sits on top of Perempuan and starts choking her. Trimagasi notices this and hands her his knife, which she uses to stab Oscar. He dies after asking why the painting was so important. Then she moves to hide with Trimagasi and cries while the prisoners continue to kill each other. Even Dagan Bobby goes down, and in the end, nobody is left alive except for Trimagasi and Perempuan. When the platform goes down, the bodies start falling into the pit. Perempuan comes out and notices Dagan Bobby is still breathing, but she decides not to kill him so he can suffer until the end. Afterward, Perempuan throws all the remaining bodies down the pit, leaving a now dead Dagan for last. She tells Trimagasi she's leaving and asks him to come along, but he decides to stay, saying this was the best month of his life. Then, Perempuan starts eating her oil painting and passes out with foam in her mouth right before the gas fills the cell. In the mysterious room, a whole pile of children are struggling to climb up until a boy makes it to the top. At that moment, a light shines on him, and two adults from administration arrive to take him away. When Perempuan wakes up, she's tied to a pile of dead bodies being moved by facility workers, meaning Natalia's plan worked. The pile is pushed through the pit, and Perempuan gets to see how the workers clean the cells and rearrange the sleeping prisoners using low gravity. When the workers leave the pile at the end of the pit, Perempuan has a devastating realization. This isn't the exit. This is level 333. She immediately wriggles free from the rope and hides under a bed while watching the men bring in the chosen kid. The boy is left on another bed, and the pile of bodies is pushed through a hole into a secret level lower under 333. Still feeling guilty for killing her fiancé's kid, Perempuan decides to cleanse her consciousness by saving this one. She makes a jump to reach the other bed, only to accidentally hit her head. Then, she picks up the kid and tries to leave, but the gravity is still a problem and causes her to hit her head again until she passes out. Perempuan reappears on the platform with the kid in the middle and a bunch of cannibals ready to eat. A man gives her a knife, inviting her to feed on the child, but at that moment she wakes up screaming. It's just her and the boy in level 333, and the platform soon takes them down to the very dark bottom. Soon, the cannibals surround her, but they don't attack her because of the child. They explain Perempuan must stay because her journey is over, and only the children get to go back up again. The cannibals help Perempuan get off the platform and watch how it starts going up again, taking the kid to new prisoners. As time passes, more and more prisoners arrive at the bottom on top of the platform, each carrying a child. It seems the facility keeps a bunch of kids as a tool to manipulate the prisoners, using them as a fake sign of hope or to stop anyone from trying to escape. This includes the ending of the first movie, showing Goreng arrive with a girl while seeing a hallucination of Trimagasi. Goreng gets off the platform so the girl can go up again. At that moment, Perempuan finds Goreng and hugs him, revealing he was her fiancé.